Hey guys, how's it going? Had some people reach out to me, say they're still having a little bit of trouble with surface area, which is fine because it's brand new. So I thought I would post a lesson for you, just in case the other ones that I posted weren't doing it. So, surface area. You guys have worked with area before, but normally when you work with area, so we're looking at something like just a flat 2D object, so a rectangle, and we're just looking for the area in here. Okay? And you guys know how to do that. You've done area before. How would we do that? Just length times width, right? Area equals length times width. So what we would do for that is we would measure. So I would measure this side. I would say we got 10 centimeters. And then I would measure my long side and say I got 15 centimeters. And then area equals length times width. So what's 10 times 15? So we have 150 centimeters. And of course, when we're doing area, it's always squared, right? 150 centimeters squared. Okay, so surface area is the same idea, but instead of looking at 2D shapes, like just the flat thing that we did here, we're looking at rectangular prism. And a rectangular prism is just a fancy word for a box. So I have this box of granola bars that I've got ready just to show you what we're doing. So again, if we're doing area, we would just be looking at this one side. But because we're doing surface area, they want to know the area of all the sides together. So that's what it's asking for, the surface area of the entire shape. Remember, rectangular prism is just a fancy word for a box. And so you guys know how to find area normally. So it's just taking that and taking it one step further. So when we take this box and we open it up, you see I ripped it, I had to use some tape there. We get this kind of shape. I don't know if you can see it well. This kind of shape. When we get this kind of shape, when we take a box apart, it's called a net. So if you're watching a video on the Khan Academy or anything else, and they're talking about the rectangular prisms, finding the surface area, and they say the net, all that means is when you open the shape up. Okay, so when we look at this shape, a couple important things to notice. There's really only three shapes. So we have side one is the exact same as this. So that's the front and the back, okay? That's the front and the back of the box. If we put it back together, you can see the front of the box, the back of the box are the exact same size. So when you're looking at the box and you have shapes that are the exact same size, so the front and the back are the exact same, we really only have to figure out the area of one because it's going to be the same for both, right? So we're going to have the area of the front and the back, okay? And then we look at our other shapes, and we have the top, and we have the bottom. These two are exactly the same. So the top and the bottom, we need the area of the top and the bottom. Those are going to be exactly the same. And then the sides, the two side pieces, side one, side two, are exactly the same. So when you're figuring out the surface area, all you have to do is figure out three sides, okay? So we need to find the area of the top, the front, and the side. What we're going to do after that is we're going to multiply it by 2 because there's two sides, right? There's 2 of everything. So we find the area of the front, we multiply it by 2 because there's 1, 2. We find the area of the top, we multiply it by 2 because there's 2, top and the bottom. We find the area of the side, we multiply it by 2 because there's 2. Then we add all of those together and we get the entire surface area of this box. So let's go through it together, okay? So I'm going to measure this one first. So this is the front of the box. If we put it back together, you can see it's the front of the box. It's easier to see the lines on the inside though, so I like to work on the inside. So I'm just going to measure the inside of this box quickly, okay? So we get 14 centimeters by 24 centimeters, okay? So I got 14 centimeters. I got 14 centimeters for the side. I got 24 centimeters for the bottom. So I'm just going to label that. I'm just going to leave it for now. I'm going to just keep going. I'm going to do the top now, okay? So I get 6 centimeters. Double check that, it seems a little big. 5.5 centimeters. And we can guess because we know the length of this is going to be the same as this, so we can just, I know it's going to be 24 centimeters as well. You can measure that if you weren't sure. And then we can use that too, because we know this side we did for, sorry, I'm in trouble getting the box right. We did this side for this box, which means this side for this one is going to be the same size, right? So we know the one side of the side is going to be 14 centimeters. And then we'll have to measure the base of it. And I got about 5.5 centimeters again for that one, okay? So now your job is, you've got the 3 different rectangles measured. Find the area for those 3 rectangles, okay? So if I'm gonna look at my first one, feel free to use a calculator for this, guys. You don't have to, you know, we're just working through the equations, okay? So the first one we have 14, so length times width is 24. Oops. 14 times 24, we get 336 centimeters. And remember, because we're doing area, it's cubed. Okay, so we get 336 centimeters. Now there's 2. Remember, we said there's this square here, we found out is 336 centimeters, but there's 2 the exact same size. And we're trying to find the area of everything. So we take the 336 that we just found, and we multiply it by 2, because this side's going to be 336 as well, right? So 336 times 2, and then we'll have the area of 2 sides already. So we do 336, and it's important to keep writing stuff down so you don't get lost where you're going, okay? So we do 336 times 2. So for the entire area of this square and this square, we get 672 centimeters squared, okay? So write that down. We're going to move on to the next one. So for my side here, I had 14 as the length, and I had 5.5 as the width. You know, 14 times 5.5 to figure out the area. And I got 77 centimeters squared. And of course, again, we have 2 sides. So we're going to take the area for this, and we're going to multiply it by 2. Okay? So 77 times 2 equals 154 centimeters squared for the 2 sides. Okay, so the last one, now we have our top and we have our bottom. So we did the measurements for the top, so we're going to find the area for the top. We're going to multiply it by 2, so we get the area for the top and the bottom, okay? So for the top we had 24 centimeters for the length, and we had 24 centimeters for the length, and we had 5.5 centimeters for the width. Multiply those together for the area, and we get 132 centimeters, and that's squared again. And then same thing, we're just going to multiply that by 2, and we're going to get 264 centimeters squared. So now we figured out the area for all the different rectangles in this box. We figured out this one 336, so we multiplied that by 2, and we got our 672. We figured out that this one was 77 centimeters. We multiplied that by 2. We got our 154. We figured out that this one was 132 centimeters. We multiplied it by 2. We got our 264. So the total area of these two is 264 centimeters. The total area of these two is 154 centimeters. And the total area of these 2 squares is 672. The last step, because we want the area of the whole thing together, is we're just going to add those 3 numbers, okay? So we're going to take 672, because that was the area of our top and our bottom, or front and our back, sorry. So we're going to take 672. We're going to add that to 154, and then we're going to add that to 264. So we're just adding all 3 numbers together, okay? So we get a grand total of 1,090 centimeters squared. And that's all there is to it. That means that the entire surface area of this box, front, back, top, bottom, side, side is 1,090 centimeters squared. Okay? So, I hope that wasn't too confusing. I know this video turned out a little bit longer than I thought it would. Hopefully you can take this video and you can work through it. So just to quickly recap, you know how to do area. Area is just length times width. You're going to have to measure some stuff. A lot of the questions online, they've already given you the measurements, so you're just working through the math. When you're measuring your own, you'll have to find the measurements, okay? Just use a ruler. Make sure you write stuff down as you go. All you're doing is finding the length and the width of one square, and you know that it has an identical partner. So you're going to find the area for this, multiply it by 2. You're going to find the area for this, multiply it by 2. You're going to find the area for the top, multiply it by 2. Take those three numbers that you get, add them together. You could find the area for all 6 if you wanted to, and add all of them together, and you would get the same number, but you're making too much work for yourself, okay? So, area of all 3 shapes, multiplied by 2, add those 3 numbers together, and you get the surface area for the entire box or rectangular prism. Okay? I hope that helps you guys. Remember, when you're doing it, if you see the word net, the net just means when it's unfolded like this, okay? If you have any questions, email me. We'll figure it out. Okay, guys? Keep working through everything. I hope you guys are doing okay. Enjoy the beautiful sunshine today. Don't kill yourself trying to get all the work done in one day, guys, okay? We've got lots of time. We've got all week. Adios.